What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on a lot of the abnormal buying that's been happening behind the scenes today and potentially what that might signal. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So during the trading day, it was going up 4.2%. After hours, it's down 1.2%, largely because of Rivian's earnings. And I did actually do a video on my other channel, so Trending Stocks, about that exact same thing, that hypothetically, Lucid is showing all the actual components of a nice rally wanting to form. Just the only thing that might really stop it after hours would be Rivian. And unfortunately, it does look like it turned out to be very true. But regardless of that, though, it still did close above the 50-day moving average. And historically, that's always been a very hard thing for Lucid to do. So the fact that it did close above the 50-day moving average is a very, very positive thing, especially if you do couple that with a lot of the information that I'm about to share with you. As you can see, based on all the options activity, you do see a lot more calls being purchased. And based on the most active chains, it is anticipated to be as high as $10 roughly. Of course, this doesn't necessarily move the stock price. It's just a little bit more of a sentiment, but clearly there is a lot more calls being purchased. And as well, if you do look at this, these are all the transactions on the secondary market. Keep in mind, secondary market is what typical retail investors do trade on. Big money likes to trade on the dark pool to avoid any big fluctuations and volatility. So as you can see, for instance, 9.13 million, 2.43 million, 1.12, 3.98, 1.32 million, 25.9 million, and this is every single transaction. And you can tell based on the bid and the ask. So for instance, this 25.9 was in fact a buy, as is a lot of the other ones as well. There was also a 1.09 million. So definitely a lot of big money is buying. And especially if you do couple that with the newest information that recently came out on within Q4. And keep in mind, Q4, when institutions increase their position, that's actually a pretty big deal, because during Q4, there was a lot of fear. Lucid was almost down to roughly about $6, give or take. And at that time, a lot of institutions were typically dumping a lot of their crap stocks, not increasing. So the fact that right now within Q4, there was 5.35 million call options being purchased by hedge funds is a huge deal. That's up roughly about 17% from the quarter prior. 27.6 million total call options being purchased by all 13F filers. So generally speaking, big money is really loving Lucid, despite it pulling back a little bit because of their earnings. But in reality, it's not the greatest earnings, but of course, it's like a band-aid, just needed to rip it off. And of course, as I said, I do strongly feel, and I still do believe, that that was the last bad earnings. Hopefully from here on out, will just be nothing but positive things. And one thing that investors always really need to watch is Lucid actually learning from their mistakes. And definitely that is very, very true. So I'll give you a quick summary as well of other things when it comes down to it. So right now, shorts. I'll give you a quick update on shorts. So short score is currently 82. Utilization is 100%. And as far as what shorts did today, they ended up increasing 197,000 shares, which again is kind of a drop in the bucket because there is 141.92 million shares being shorted, roughly about 22% short interest. So of course that is what it is. But one thing as well that I can always say and signal, like I mentioned in the beginning, why big money has been buying at the huge amount they were today is because of, once again, like I said, the technicals. And because of the technicals, I'll show you this on Interactive Brokers. So for those of you that do like the Elliott wave, as long as we are staying above the $8.51 mark, hypothetically, we should be able to be in bullish territory, meaning that we might actually be able to reach $10, potentially, depending on their 12 in a very short term. But of course, I could be completely wrong. I am not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But all I know is when you are looking at the technicals, for instance, even stochastic, it is currently at 14. Very mind-blowingly oversold. So again, if there is any positive news, even getting over that 50-day moving average, there will be a nice big value rally, a lot more big money and value investors getting in. And as well, momentum number retail investors appear to be getting back in as well. So I think generally speaking, Lucid is is looking to be very positive, and especially that's a bold statement, especially after their earnings. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below and where you see things going with Lucid. Of course, as of right now, the next big catalyst for us to really watch for is the Gravity reservations being unlocked. And based on rumors, it does appear as though it's going to be roughly about 2 to 3 weeks out. So of course, that might be coming down the pipeline. And I think in general, depending on the price point of the Gravity, that is where hypothetically it could really run Lucid up very, very high. More specifically though, I did do a poll on YouTube on the exact same thing. How much should the Gravity be sold for? Only 676 votes, but clearly the majority of which feel it should be under $100,000. And in general, I do feel that if it is over 120, that's going to be seen as negative. So of course, I think that is a little bit more of a double-edged sword. One thing is positive, that the Gravity will be unlocked, but I think the secondary component is going to be the price that is going to be very much scrutinized. So once again, let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my Lucid content, want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.